Well, let's jump ahead to what's going on in the UK. There's a tremendous amount of insanity that is happening with the police state there. As I said at the top of the program, what they are doing is something that is beyond even what Orwell imagined in his portrayal of English socialism, what he called Ingsot. And you've got a Cardinal Mueller. This is an article from LifeSite News, so they look at what a cardinal has to say. He said, mass immigration of Muslims to Europe can only lead to a confrontation. Well, he's right about that, but he doesn't realize that's the plan. You know, for years, I've seen people talk about government schools and say, well, you know, Johnny can't read. Now, that's a problem. What's the matter? Our schools are not working. No. They're working just fine. That's the purpose of the schools, to make sure that Johnny can't read. They don't want people to know anything. It was a deliberate dumbing down of America. That was the title of Charlotte Iserbyt's book. She went to Washington to shut down the Department of Education, which, by the way, you know, Reagan promised to shut it down. It had been created by Jimmy Carter, and I think he created it in 1980 in the election year. He said, I'll stop that. He didn't. He grew it for 8 years. He grew it into maturity. And she was disgusted by that. She said the purpose of this is to deliberately dumb down the population. She was absolutely right. Now, Trump has also promised that he's going to get rid of the Department of Education, has he? Linda McMahon, again, we're talking about professional wrestling here, folks. Why would he put the spouse of the guy who ran WWE in office? Well, because it's all fake. It's all a fake fight. He hasn't done anything to restrict the Department of Education. Nothing has been done. It should be shut down. They're absolutely right. But even when they were talking about shutting it down, what they were talking about doing was moving its funding areas. Okay, so we're going to still give people money for doing what we want them to do. We're just going to distribute that to these other different bureaucracies that are out there that are also unconstitutional. And I said at the time, I said, that's the way they control everything. If you fund it, you control it. That was the mechanism for how they got the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit to the pandemic error, ERROR, the pandemic error masks. How did they get all these things done? Well, they did it by blackmail and by bribery over money, giving that to the states, not because they had the power to do it. But when we look at what is happening throughout Europe, this is a plan. It is a design. They know what they're doing in terms of AI and creating this dystopian surveillance police state. And so they want us fighting each other, not fighting them in an intellect war, an artificial intelligence war. And that's why they have brought them in. You know, they want to make sure that they know these massive populations are going to be in conflict. They know that they're not going to assimilate and adopt our values. And that's precisely why they brought them in. No question about it. It's just nowhere in this article. I mean, he talks about all the different issues. So, yeah, parallel societies are emerging. That is by design. It is a design of divide and conquer. And again, it's no different than saying the schools aren't working. Well, the schools are never supposed to work. He talked about the case of Henry Nowak, and we've shown that here as well, where he was stabbed by a Sikh who was allowed to carry a knife, but other people are not allowed to carry a knife. And when the police showed up, he said, I've been stabbed. And the other guy said, no, he hasn't. So they handcuffed him and let him bleed out on the sidewalk and captured it all with their body cameras. And the reality is far worse than any kind of summary could show you. The reality is even worse than the videos that you see, and they're pretty bad. But it is a clash of cultures, and it is a deliberate clash of cultures that has been engineered. And so they say that there was a deliberate propaganda campaign against large families, and these parents are intimidated and then marginalized. And as I reported earlier in the program, look at the campaign of propaganda and intimidation against families, even being run by Republican media outlets like the New York Post. So the cardinal said, well, now anything goes because they've decided that we need to depopulate, that we are overpopulated. So that's how we get into abortion and all the rest of these things. And he's right about that as well. And so he said most European countries have a birth rate below 1.5 children per woman. None of them exceed the 2.1 rate that is needed for the population to just stay level in terms of replacement. You need to understand that Europe, and now really the West, is a cut flower society and has been for over half a century. What we're seeing now is the petals are falling off of that cut flower as it dies. And this is what it looks like in the UK. Here is a man who is being threatened with arrest by a young female officer. She's in her early 20s. She's caught on camera confronting the man because he was peacefully filming in a public space. And these are the people who are putting cameras everywhere, right? And in the footage, she claims his mere presence might wind people up. And so he says, is this pre-crime? You're stopping me before I do something wrong? Is this like Minority Report? And she doesn't even understand what he's referring to. That's how clueless and ignorant she is. Forget about reading Orwell or Brave New World. She doesn't even watch movies to understand Minority Report.
Breaking no laws.
Okay.
I'm not approaching people.
Okay.
People are approaching me.
Okay. And all I'm saying is if you carry on, then there will be issues, all right?
With the people?
With the police.
Why? How is that possible when I'm not breaking any laws?
Me and my colleague, we've explained it many times. We can arrest someone to prevent a breach of the peace. A breach of the peace is...
But he has to be doing something wrong.
Yeah. We're arresting you to prevent it from you doing something wrong. We're not going to leave you to carry on winding
Arresting you to prevent you
What is
from
this
doing
like?
something wrong.
Minority Report, like a crime that might happen in the future. You're going to prevent it.
You can prevent the breach of the peace.
She has no clue what he's
Why
talking
don't you
about.
just tell people to mind their own effing business?
Well, I wouldn't recommend you doing that.
Why?
Because you're going to cause issues. We are here to stop anyone attacking anyone or anyone getting angry, because your behaviour, if you carry on with some of these people, someone might lose their temper.
Yeah.
And then that's going to cause a breach of the peace, isn't it?
Oh God, I should have just stayed in bed this morning, shouldn't I?
Maybe you should have.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We don't want anybody getting angry. Take your Soma pill,
Yeah, it's actually much worse than Minority Report. It's, we're going to arrest you because someone else might commit a crime against you.
Yeah.
It's, I wouldn't recommend you do that. They might get upset. So therefore, I'm going to arrest you.
Yeah, and that someone else committing a crime might be the police themselves. Take a look at this guy. I was just talking about Minority Report. When I saw this clip, this is a guy straight out of Clockwork Orange. And if you don't know that movie, you got this guy who's on this criminal rampage with two other guys. He goes over the edge and kills somebody. He goes to prison. The other two guys who are out of prison, and it's an interesting book, actually. They had it as a topic and a course at the university where I was there, looking at the issue of crime and punishment, as well as individual culpability and responsibility for your own actions, because it has aspects about that as well. But the two guys who don't go to jail, they become cops, very sadistic cops as well. This guy actually looks worse than the two droogs of Alex, the central character in Clockwork Orange. Look at this guy's face. I mean, he is absolutely loving his authority and so eager to unleash it on somebody.
Causing other members of the public harassment, alarm, distress. Okay.
Oh, he loves this.
That itself is technically a public order offence.
Is it?
You can be arrested.
Go on then.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay, I can. Not saying I want to right
You
now.
can't.
However, if you don't give me your details, I may arrest you.
Oh, I'm not giving you my details.
Okay. You're under arrest then for public order. You don't have to say anything, but it may harm your
What, for
defence.
filming?
Do not mention one question. Something which you later rely on in court, and anything you do say may be given in evidence. All right.
ID
Necessary
yourself.
To arrest you, to ascertain your name and address. Thanks very much.
Yeah, this is a public space. Yeah. Yeah, what's he arrested for? Filming. That's not a public order, mate. I'm filming now. I'm filming now, mate. We can film you because you're public servants. We can film you because you are public servants. You know this. Yeah, we're not going to do anything. We're peaceful. We're peaceful people. We can be civilized about this.
Yeah, well, they can film you, but you can't film them. There's a ton of these videos are put together by Steve Watson. It's an article that was picked up on Zero Hedge, and it's absolutely unbelievable to look at this. Here's somebody here's the cops telling somebody, better calm down. But of course, the cops are getting very worked up about all this stuff. I guess the people just haven't had their calm down drugs today yet.
No, wait for me. No, wait, no, thank you. Are you moving away? Wait, what's that then? Are you moving from here? It's not something. Mate, I'm in a public place, buddy. No, people have just been moved, okay? I haven't been moved. What, people have? I said people. You're not listening, are you? I am. Speak to me, please. Sorry? Buddy, please. Well, I'm talking. Listen. All right? So you need to move from this area. No, we don't. Yes, you do. No, we don't. Yes, you do. Because you're breaching the peace. It's already... Listen, you don't need to.
Calm down.
I'm asking you really nice.
Calm down. Calm down. Don't touch me.
Thank you very much. Keep moving. Thank you.
So what is this guy on? Right? The man being targeted remained calm and pointed out he had done nothing illegal. It was the officer who was creating the tension, as we see so many times. That was in Birmingham. In Sheffield, there was similar overreach, says Watson, after police used significant force on a 17-year-old boy during a protest. They slammed him into a metal bollard. And they did it so hard that it bent the bollard. And then, after realizing what they had done, I guess, they turned against the person who was filming it. Because we don't want to have that go out.
Stop fucking causing up on them when they're trying to kill somebody.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Filming is a crime, is it?
Stood here.
No, I guess the biggest criminal is the government. Look at that.
Aggressive with a guy filming.
It's a mob of people rushing him off. And even standing still, says Watson, draws attention. London officers moved in on people simply standing around in a public space doing nothing. And folks, this is an example of the nanny state. Look at the cops that they hire. Very young women who have been weaponized with this kind of power. They desire to have this kind of power. I got to say, I've told people many times, I became a libertarian when I was in first grade because there was a classmate of mine who was given the power of authority by the special crossing guard bright orange stripe that she wore across her shoulder. And she decided that she could tell me when I could cross the street and not cross the street. And I could see for myself when there were cars coming and not coming. I didn't need her help. I used to free range all the time. We did as kids. I used to, the very place where I would ride my bicycle all the time. And she was never following me around to protect me. But she was going to tell me when I could cross and when I could not cross, even though there was no reason to be told that. This is what is happening now with these 20-something-year-old girls, probably not even 20 when you look at them.
I didn't commit no crime.
I'm not saying that. We're not saying that. We're just
So why are you talking to me?
because we're just asking what you're doing because you're just standing here. Just
But why?
watching people.
What do you mean?
You're standing here
I
watching.
saw you like walk.
You
from-
saw me looking.
Yeah, just watching, looking at people, not really doing anything. You're not meeting up with anyone. You're just watching people.
So, as I explained, we just walked around.
You didn't
here.
explain anything. You just keep repeating the same thing.
Just listen. We walked around here, okay? Walked around the square.
Right.
And we just seen you here in the same spot, and you're just standing there, like watching people.
How long? 2 minutes?
Yes, a couple of minutes. And we stood over there and we observed you for a couple of minutes.
Well, that's what you were
And we've
doing.
seen you look this way, look that way, looking at people sitting down. So we're just wondering, like, if you're not here to sit in the park or wait for anyone, or like, we're just wondering what you're doing. Can you see from our perspective?
No, not at all.
Because my colleague mentioned there's a lot of theft.
Theft?
Yes.
So I did ask you, so do I look like...
Yeah, don't look like I'm stealing. You're just standing here looking at people. Well, that's what you're doing, actually. As a matter of fact, you can't film the police, but they can film you. And this is the heart of this next one here. In Chiswick, 2 police entered a pub and asked a man to step outside and threatened him over a tweet criticizing a counselor's plan to ban outdoor seating at pubs. Now, before I play that one, because I may run out of time, I want to play this one about the facial ban. If you cover your face while walking, it's not a crime. But they came after this guy because he had a mask on. Now, remember, 5-6 years ago, they would have come after you if you didn't have a mask on. But now, if you do have a mask on, they're going to come after you.
Where there's a facial recognition van, you've covered your whole face up like that.
This man didn't want to be caught by the police cameras, so he covered his face. Police stopped him. They photographed him anyway.
There's no law. There's no law against covering your face. Yeah, okay, well there you go. You let him go then.
Well, maybe
we see your face?
Maybe it's because I don't consent to being on there.
Oh, right. Okay, why's that?
Because I think it's a bit of a government overreach.
Oh, right, okay. That's fine. Can we take your details down, is that alright?
Don't cover my face, I cover my face. Don't push me out when I'm walking down the street.
The police said this was disorderly behaviour, so they gave him a fine.
I've got a now £90 fine. There you go, look at that.
You let them know that he's got a right to cover his face and he can walk away.
The thing is, we live in a country which is free. We don't have to carry ID, so we don't live in a state where the police have the right to see your ID willy-nilly. This takes away my freedom because you're IDing me without asking.
Yeah, they're going to fix that. You know, you get a fine 6 years ago if you didn't cover your face. Now you get a more than $100 fine if you do cover your face. And they're watching everybody. And they're standing over there watching you to see if what you're doing, and even if you're just standing still and looking at other people. That in and of itself is a crime. But maybe it's just who you are. And that is the essence of their two-tier policing system. We just saw this situation happen. This was a guy who was attacked by 3 or 4 people who were black. He was white. And look at this clip. Immediately, this guy's on the ground. He's starting to get up. You have a nanny state policewoman come in and run him up against the wall. Yeah, nanny policewoman there. In Birmingham, 3 black individuals assaulted a white British teenager. Footage shows a female officer shielding the aggressors and directing aggression toward the white victim. You can see from that video, he never did anything to them. I mean, he pushed back against her when she slammed him up against the wall. The attackers walked away. Multiple police officers then swarmed the victim using foul language. They shoved him into the police car the wrong way. They dragged him out after a botched attempt. And then they restrained him forcefully. A bystander trying to explain that the white lad was the victim was ignored, in the same way that they did with the guy who was killed by the Sikh, as they did with Nowak, because it is a two-tier police system. It is not justice that is colorblind, justice that is blindfolded. It is blind tyranny, and we have to not be blind to the agenda behind this, folks. This is happening in the UK now, but all of the aspects of this have been laid as a foundation to be done in America as well. That is a global plan. It's going to roll out in a matter of time, just like the COVID fake pandemic did. It's just not going to be synchronized like that one was. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day. The common man. They created Common Core to dumb down our children. They created Common Pass to track and control us. Their Commons Project to make sure the commoners own nothing. And the communist future. They see the common man as simple, unsophisticated, ordinary. But each of us has worth and dignity created in the image of God. That is what we have in common. That is what they want to take away. Their most powerful weapons are isolation, deception, intimidation. They desire to know everything about us while they hide everything from us. It's time to turn that around and expose what they want to hide. Please share the information and links you'll find at davidknightshow.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you can't support us financially, please keep us in your prayers. davidknightshow.com.